The Charlotte Hornets are picking second overall in the 2023 NBA Draft, and the debate around the pick is mostly about two prospects, Scoot Henderson from G League Ignite and Brandon Miller from Alabama. I already made a video talking about why I believe the Hornets should take Scoot Henderson, but I feel like that video was mostly focused about Scoot, and I don't feel like that video is fair to Brandon Miller because I feel they gave out the vibe that I don't like Brandon Miller as a prospect, which isn't the case. I really like Brandon Miller as a prospect, and in this video, I'll be talking about both Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson, as well as why I think the discourse around what the Hornets should do at pick 2 is wrong on both sides. I'm going to start with Brandon Miller because I talk about Scoot Henderson a lot on this channel, so why not start with the prospect I don't talk about as much? Miller is a 6'9", 200-pound wing from Alabama. Now, I want to get it out of the way. He's not Jason Tatum, he's not Brandon Ingram, he's not Paul George. Those players aren't quite what I think when I think about Brandon Miller. All of them have better handles and are better self-creators in my opinion. He does have some similar traits to Paul George in terms of height and shooting ability, but the handle isn't on the level now or projects to be on the level it has been for Paul George, and he isn't as flexible as PG is. He's a bit stiff and upright, and the flexibility is a big part of what makes Paul George, so I think the fact that, Miller can improve his flexibility, but I don't think he'll be ever on the level of Paul George, is a big reason why I just don't see that comparison. And I do think he could reach the level of player Brandon Ingram is, and I think he could be even better. But the thing I don't like about that comparison is they aren't similar styles of prospect. Ingram was a point forward type at Duke, while Miller is more of a catch and shoot guy, movement shooter. With that being said, he still is a really good prospect. Even if I don't think he's quite on the level or projects to be, what a future Hall of Famer, two future Hall of Famers project to be. He's arguably the best shooting prospect in this class. He has deep shooting range. He has some on-ball juice as a shooter, although I would say it's much more about rising and firing over smaller defenders than it is about space creation. He isn't good at space creation in my opinion, but while he isn't a good space creator off the bounce, he does make up for it with his range and ability to hit contested jumpers. He's also lethal as an off-ball scorer, he's good in catch and shoot situations, and he's good on cuts. He's not a good slasher in on-ball situations on tape. He needs to add strength to his frame, and the handle does need work, although I would say it's closer to a handle situation with Jaylen Brown or Jordan Poole, where for me on tape, it's not the fact that he's incapable of dribbling. That's far from the case. He is a very capable dribbler. He can bring the basketball up the court. He can do some self-creation stuff, even if it does need a lot of work. But he does have mistakes on tape that are noticeable to the point it looks worse than it probably is. He's someone I would say is a capable scorer on all three levels, but not a capable self-creator on all three levels. On top of what he can do as a scorer, which I think is a lot more positive than negative, he's a really good passer in a connecting role. He does some live dribble stuff that's intriguing, but I'm more intrigued by the connecting passing stuff. He has good feel as a passer, he has good vision, he's a willing passer, and then you look at what he does defensively. Yes, he does need to add strength, which is part of his game in general because he needs to improve as a finisher, specifically on the ball, and on defense, he can get bullied a bit, but overall, he's a pretty good point of attack defender. Good motor, good feel, and I think he projects to be a good defender in the NBA. I think he has a high floor due to his height, feel, shooting ability, secondary passing, and POA defense. I also think the fact that he has good shot selection and doesn't really struggle with tunnel vision is a good sign as well. His ceiling is also pretty high. I think the fact that ceiling is a big argument as to why I have Scoot Henderson ahead of him makes me believe that you guys don't think that I believe Miller has a high ceiling, but I do think Miller has a high ceiling. I think at his best, he could be a 23 to 25 point per game scorer, 7+ rebound per game, 4+ assists per game guy with good defense. I think his ceiling is a consistent all-star level player to fringe all-NBA player with the floor of being a starter level player. I think he is just too good in terms of what he can do already with his physical tools to fail in the NBA. I think what he does is just worth a top 3 pick. That's the best way to put it. However, the reason I've always been higher on Scoot is because Scoot has the same level of floor. He also has a super high floor. But the reason Scoot is the number 2 prospect in this class, and I don't think it's close, is the fact he's a more rare talent. Scoot has athleticism you just can't teach. Scoot has feel for the game you just can't teach. Scoot has playmaking intangibles you just can't teach. He's a true primary creator with legit superstar upside in my opinion, and that just doesn't grow on trees. He has athleticism that few will be able to match. He's extremely skilled. His handle is incredible. His body control is incredible. His touch around the basket is incredible. He's arguably the best finisher in this class. He's a great playmaker. He has great feel. He's a good mid-range shooter. He's not perfect by any means. He does need to work on his shot selection. He does need to work on his 3-point shooting consistency. But I don't think those areas are unfixable by any means. It's not like I watch him play and think this guy can't hit the broadside of a barn. I think that there are positive indicators. He has a good form. He's a solid free throw shooter and a good mid-range shooter. I just think that there are enough signs here in terms of future shooting development potential to the point where I can focus more on the absurd upside than what he can't do. Because what he can't do right now isn't something that long term I think could be a problem. I think that it could get a lot better. And that's true with Miller, because I do think Miller can get better in terms of finishing and the handle and the self-creation stuff. But what Scoot does, I just feel like there's more promise in his flaws getting better than with Miller, even if I think both are going to be good. At the very least, you are going to get a starting level point guard in Scoot Henderson, which any team would want. His playmaking skills and tangibles combined with his feel for the game is just too much for me to believe otherwise, and the shot is fixable enough to the point he could develop into a good shooter. It's not a guarantee by any means, only time will tell. But the signs are promising enough to roll the dice on that one area of his game on offense that really will dictate his ceiling. Considering everything else that he's good at, Scoot Henderson, if he figures out the shot, which is a real possibility because of the form, because of what he does as a mid-range scorer, and the free throw indicators, I think at his best, legit All-NBA to MVP candidate potential. He could be dominant as a rim pressure threat, elite playmaker, and great scorer. That's the ceiling on him, and at the very least, he's going to be starting level good. I said it before and I'll say it again, if he was eligible for the 2022 NBA draft, he would be my number 1 prospect in that class easily. I think there's a real chance the Magic would have taken him number 1 overall, and he probably would have been the Rookie of the Year. He's that good. I like both of these prospects a lot. I think both are going to be great players. But you guys know who I would take at pick 2. And the thing is, I don't understand the fit argument against Scoot, because I think Scoot and LaMelo would be a great fit. The NBA is about having more than one guy who can create, and ideally now you want 2 guys in your backcourt that can create for themselves and others, and that's what Scoot and LaMelo could be. Having 2 playmakers is a good foundation to build off of, and they would help each other out. LaMelo is a good shooter that doesn't need the basketball in his hands in terms of playmaking situations. He's a good off-ball playmaker. Watch him play. But he isn't a great finisher at the basket. Scoot is that great finisher at the basket that needs help as a shooter, and he needs to improve in that area. But he also can work off ball. They worked him off ball a ton with Ignite this season. These aren't 2 players who are pumpkins without the basketball in their hands, and they have skills that complement each other. Also, when you're picking at 2nd overall, you draft best player available over fit. I know a lot of you guys don't agree with me on this, but to me, Scoot is a clearly better prospect than Miller in my opinion. So it's a better fit than people are giving it credit for, while also being a clear best player available pick in my eyes. Now, what I think doesn't matter. I'm just a guy on the internet with an opinion, and I do understand the real possibility of Miller going second overall. It's a very real possibility that Brandon Miller does go second overall. The reports, although I wouldn't say KOC is the most reliable source in the world, are saying that the Hornets are leaning towards Miller at pick 2. I do believe that it would be a mistake to pass on Scoot Henderson. I've been very clear about that. However, I don't agree with the discourse around the side of the argument that says Miller would be a mistake at pick 2, because it's being compared to the Wiseman pick, which isn't true at all. This wouldn't be like that situation. Brandon Miller is a significantly better prospect than James Wiseman was, and it's really not even close. I don't think it would be the end of the world if they took Miller. It wouldn't be like Bagley over Luka, or Wiseman over LaMelo, or Josh Jackson over De'Aaron Fox. It would be a lot closer to like Blake Griffin over James Harden, Bradley Beal over Damian Lillard. The pick after being the better pick, but you aren't gonna hope on it too much because the player picked ahead was still really good. I just think Brandon Miller is too good of a prospect to be thrown into a hypothetical comparison to Wiseman, Bagley, or Josh Jackson. While I don't think he's going to be as good as Scoot will, I think he's going to be a good player for a long time. While I agree that the Hornets should take Scoot at pick 2, I don't think it's the end of the world to take Miller at 2. And I don't think it's fair to act like it would be the worst pick ever if Miller went at 2. He's a good player and he's going to be one for a very long time in the NBA. I'm very confident in that fact. Even if I think Scoot will be better, I'm not going to act like it's the end of the world if the Hornets actually take Brandon Miller at pick 2. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, notified whenever I release a video. I'm making videos about basketball all the time, so if that interests you, I really think you enjoy this channel, and liking and subscribing are the 2 best ways it can help me out. Helps support the channel, helps me on the YouTube algorithm so more people find my videos, so in turn, helps the channel grow so I get more content for you guys in the future. Let me know what you think about both Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson in the comment section below. Let's try to get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. With that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.